can you remember any specific words that I've spoken to you that have stuck with you, that have made you feel better about yourself? Can you think of any specific words I've spoken to you that have stuck with you, that have made you feel better about yourself, but then it has the other side of it? Can you think of any words I've spoken to you that have stuck with you that have made you feel worse about yourself? Because again, this section on lamenting, think about the value of cleaning out those wounded areas now so they don't stick with her and fester and turn into something else. Because how many girls go looking for love in all the wrong places? Because they're like, that guy will he'll never hurt me with his words. He'll tell me what I want to hear. But little does she know is those are a lot of times the players, right? And I say dads, dudes, or duds. A lot of those duds know how to play the field. He'll tell her what she wants to hear. But imagine, Dad, if you clean out places where you've, wounded her and she's still carrying those wounds from you, you may not remember them. But if you can clean them out, I think she's less vulnerable to the guys that just tell her what she wants to hear. Maybe to actually clean out some of those wounds. And he doesn't even know she's been wounded in those areas. But say that you as a dad tell her all that she doesn't do right. You got a B, but you could have gotten an A. Or, you did the chores, but you complained. Or, you didn't make your bed quite right because the room could have been cleaner. And you notice a lot what she doesn't do right. And then this guy comes into her life that he's like, I love the way you do. You put together outfits so great, and you do everything you do, man. You just have a golden touch. And he's just building her up, building her up, building her up. Maybe because he has an agenda, probably, right? Because guys don't naturally keep up with all those compliments. Am I right?
Yes, it's true. You're actually describing the young man that I'm scared to death of with my girls, and it's that punk, right? That I know.
That punk.
Yeah.
He's like working her. He's a player. But Dad, if you're complimenting, if you're every day thinking, what is one way I could build up my daughter? I want to speak words of life into her so that she's not so thirsty in the soil of her heart that she'll take any drop of water from any dude or dud or punk. I love that.
You know what? No, I love this because I think so many fathers, we don't understand how we wound our daughters in the words that we say, in the tone that we speak, in all of those that you just laid out, kind of like always on them about this, that, or the other, instead of speaking life and love and encouragement every chance we get, so that they're not combating. Because I'd never thought of it. If we're doing that, then they're going to be able to, I think, much more recognize the player.
Absolutely. Just like what they do in the FBI, right? You study the authentic money, the authentic currency, so that if a fraudulent piece of money comes through, it stands out. You don't study every type of fraud kind of currency. You study the real so that anything else stands out. Same here. You get the real deposits into your heart as a daughter from your dad, where there's not an agenda. And again, this isn't about you being perfect, Dad. It's about being present. It's about showing up in your role, whether or not your dad modeled it to you. It's never too late. And I haven't written this dad back yet today that I told you I got the email from. But I'm saying to him, it's never too late. Your daughter is so blessed to have you as a dad who's being honest about your shortcomings and limitations. And he said, I'm going to get done with this book and then I'll get your new one. And I'm like, wow, this daughter's going to be able to have a dad that opens up with her about where he's realizing he's failed. And I'm telling you, some dads, you might think, oh, she'll think less of me. I'll come down in her eyes as less than perfect. I'm like, well, she probably already knows that.
Well, and two, in knowing that, and I tell people this all the time, especially guys, fathers, because they need to know it. Those that it does click, you go, look, dude, you're lucky. You're one of the blessed ones, because there's men out there and fathers out there that it never clicks. They never get it. So
Right.
the fact that you're getting a second chance, dude, grab hold of that bad boy and just move forward, because it's.
And this is my counseling office right here. I mean, the amount of tears that have been shed right in this space from daughters, doesn't matter if she's in her teens, her 20s, her 30s, her 40s, even 50s, tears coming down the cheeks of women that are saying, I wish I was closer to my dad. It's rare. It does happen. Like a teenager recently said, oh no, my dad and I are super tight. Like almost like she was like, I don't think we could be any better. But then again, I know I'm telling these stories, but my heat went out last week. So on Friday night, a heater guy was here till 10:30, emergency appointment to assess the problem. And I am not kidding you. The guy was literally bleeding about estrangement from his 25-year-old daughter. And I literally said, can I text you a question? And it was one of these. What could I do to be a better dad to you? He hasn't talked to her for 3 years. And he texted me the next morning and said, I went home and I had a wet face. You know, he didn't say tears, but I gave him my book. I'm like, it's never too late and it's up to you. Dad, you've got to turn your heart first to your daughter. Then she'll turn her heart to you, but it starts with you. God said it. It's up to you. And he's like, I know. But I wasn't trying to beat him up, but I was trying to challenge him. I'm like, don't men do that in sports? I mean, how much would you like watching NFL football on television if the guys got knocked down and said, I'm done, game over, or start crying on the field that they couldn't do it? Can you imagine football like that? It would not be what it is, or basketball or whatever. Like, you as men are wired to get knocked down and you get back up. You got to do that with your daughter. She needs you as a dad to pursue her heart with everything you've got.